Good morning, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Sperling from Baghdad Elementary, and I'm going to be reading a story today. Our story is going to be Muncha, Muncha, Muncha by Candace Fleming, illustrated by G. Brian Carras. And we're going to find out what happens in our story today. For years, Mr. Mcgreely dreamed of planting a garden. He dreamed of getting his hands dirty, of growing yummy vegetables, and gobbling them all up. Yeah, I don't see a garden in there, do you? Let's see what happens. But he never once tried it until this spring, said Mr. Mcgreely. This spring, by golly, I'm going to plant a garden. So it looks like he's at the little farmer's market. Looking at some vegetables and some gardening tools in that window there. See them? He hoed and he sowed, and he watched his garden grow. Lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes. Yum, yum, yummy, said Mr. Mcgreely. I'll soon fill my tummy with crisp, fresh veggies. And looks like he's getting those plants going. Oh, but who do you see in the corner here? Wonder what those are. But one night, when the sun went down and the moon came up, 3 hungry bunnies appeared. Tippy, 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 pat! Muncha, muncha, muncha. Oh, what do you think those bunny rabbits are doing? What do you think muncha, muncha, muncha means? Put your answer in the comments below. The next morning, when Mr. Mcgreely saw his gnawed sprouts, he was angry. So he built a small wire fence around all his vegetables. There, he declared, no bunny can get into my garden now. So he's working hard on those vegetables. He sees they're all chewed up. Builds that wire fence. Do you think it's going to keep the bunny rabbits out? Let's see. And the sun went down and the moon came up, and tippy, 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 pat! Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash! Muncha, muncha, muncha. Oh, so it looks like they hurdled or jumped over that fence. They ran, 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 dash, dash, dash to try and get to the vegetables. Didn't really keep them out, did it? The next morning, when Mr. Mcgreely saw his nibbled leaves and gnawed sprouts, he was really angry. So he built a tall wooden wall behind the small wire fence all around his vegetable garden. He huffed. Those flop ears will never get over it. No bunny can get into my garden now. Do you think they're going to get into that garden? Not sure. We'll have to wait and see. And the sun went down and the moon came up, and tippy, 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 pat! Dig, scrabble, scratch, 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 spring, hurdle, dash, 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 muncha, muncha, muncha. Oh, looks like they got through. The next morning, when Mr. Mcgreely saw his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was really, really angry. So he made a deep, wet trench outside the tall wooden wall, behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. Ha! He snorted. Those pufftails can't get under it. They can't get over it. No bunny can get into my garden now. And the sun went down and the moon came up, and tippy, 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 pat! Dive, paddle, splash, splash, splash! Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch! Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash! Muncha, muncha, muncha. So Looks like those bunnies ended up swimming to try and get in. It looks like they got in because they're munching. Yeah. The next morning, when Mr. Mcgreely saw his chomped blossoms, his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was furious. So he hammered and blocked, sawed and stalked, drilled and filled, and trapped and locked, and built a huge, enormous thing before the deep, wet trench, outside the tall wooden wall, behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. "I've outsmarted those twitch whiskers for sure," he exclaimed. "They can't get through it. They can't get under it. They can't get over it. No bunny, no way, no how can get into my vegetable garden now." Oh, do you think they're going to be able to get through all that? That's a lot. But then again, they got through everything else. So see if we find out. And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippy, 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 stop. The 3 hungry bunnies looked and smelled and touched the huge, enormous thing before them, and tippy, 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 pat, the bunnies hopped away. Well, look like this one stopped them. Well, real quick, it looks like they're doing this all at night, right? When the sun goes down and the moon comes up. Why do you think that is? Why do you think they keep trying to sneak in at night? Put your answer down in the comments below if you know the answer. The next morning when Mr. Mcgreely saw his untouched vegetables, he was happy. He is very happy. Why do you think he's happy? Well, you have to leave a comment. Let me know. "I beat the bunnies," he whooped, and did a jiggly-wiggly victory dance. Then he climbed over, jumped across, squeezed between, and crawled under until he reached his vegetable garden. "Ah!" sighed Mr. Mcgreely. At last, smacking his lips, he picked and pulled up lettuce, carrots, peas, and tomatoes, and with his basket overflowing, he reached inside for something yummy. It looks like he's super happy to be able to eat those vegetables he's worked so hard to grow, huh? Oh goodness. Muncha, Muncha, Muncha. Who sat in his basket? Oh my goodness, it looks like the bunnies got in the basket. How do you think they got in there? Add that to the comments below on how do you think they got in there, because they seem to be some pretty tricky, smart bunnies. What do you think? All right, that is our story. Again, this story was Muncha, Muncha, Muncha by Candace Fleming, illustrated by G. Brian Caras, if you're interested in getting that book and having it at home. Thank you guys for joining me today, and have a wonderful day.